Oh, and looks like we're live. Excellent. Alright, let me get my input switched over so I can actually see what's going on here. Alright, well, I am super excited about this, because right now we are going to run two of my very favorite games ever, Ecco the Dolphin and Ecco the Tides of Time. Gonna try to keep it pretty speedy, which is why I got a little timer in the corner here. I'm really pumped about this, have been for quite some time. And before I get started with the run, just switch off here. Gonna be running this on my OG cartridge from childhood. Got that, and got Tides of Time right here. So get that set up, and yeah. The beginning of Ecco 1 is a really fast speed run, so I'm not gonna have a whole lot of time to explain what's happening, but I'll try my best to keep up. And we've got the man himself, Ed Annunziata, in chat to answer any Ecco-related questions. And yeah, hope everyone enjoys it. So let me get live split ready, and we are about to go. Right off the bat, leap up into the air and get Ecco's pod sucked into the sky. And onward to the first real stage. Now, normally you're supposed to like find a glyph to open a door, but we're just gonna open the sonar map here, and that underflows Ecco's X coordinate, and wait, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm so used to splitting there. Gotta remember, only split at the end of the game. But what happens there is when you bring up the sonar map that underflows Ecco's X coordinate, and the game's like, oh, you meant a really large positive coordinate, right? And that puts Ecco across the end of level bounding box, and yeah. Fun stuff. That is used a couple times in the run. And interesting thing happens when you hit glyphs backwards. You get pushed through them instead of pushed away from them. And that happens because the collision check is like, oh, Ecco's running into a glyph, let me push him away from it. And it does the check by checking Ecco's direction and pushing him the opposite of whatever he's facing. That glitch was fixed in the Japanese version of the game as well as the Sega CD version. And this is my favorite glitch in the right game here, because the lagoon is kind of notorious, but by manipulating how charging an enemy works, we can pan the camera downward. And push Ecco into this rock and swim to the exit. Skip having to do a really difficult level. I'm gonna try to carry this shell and push it really far over here to skip having to get a second one. And you can just kind of clip through this wall here. Doesn't look like Ecco is moving, but he phases through the wall gently. And this next trick is one of the hardest things to do in the game. If I change my direction while I'm charging, I can basically make Echo swim backwards through the air. And that'll allow me to hop over an invisible wall and do the same thing here and jump into the end of level bounding box. That glitch was fixed in the CD and Japanese releases of the game. They put a proper ceiling there, so you can't do it anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of wait, what? In this run. Oh, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for breaking Echo like this. This game's amazing. And Ice Zone has one of the trickier glyph skips in the game because Echo has a tendency to get pulled to the right. Second try ain't bad on that. Hard Water is a very notorious stage, very easy to get crushed by these moving ice blocks, but we can skip most of it by clipping into this wall seam. And, Cold Water is gonna be the first level that's kind of played as intended. You can skip one of the glyphs, but it's pretty difficult to do. It ends up just being faster to do the level properly most of the time. And we've got our nice exposition here where the Big Blue explains that the storm that took your pods, those storms happen every 500 years. They don't really know exactly what causes them, but there is a life form in the ocean that's even older and wiser, so we're gonna go find it and try to learn from it. I love the music in this stage. Oh man, just... We're gonna get the first key glyph. Just ignore the game's advice of swimming slowly past 8 arms. Just go by them. Do another glyph skip here. Go past some angry crabs. And onward to deep water. During this next section, there's kind of a magic pixel that we can hit where we avoid all of the spikes. They corrected that in later releases of the game. And now, talking to the giant sentient DNA strand, Asterite, who seems to recognize us even though we've never met before. It tells us you gotta go to Atlantis and use the time machine to go back 55 million years to find its missing globe. Hit this to remove a chain, then we're gonna get pulled through another glyph. And the library is a really cool game, really cool stage when you're playing the game casually, because there's a huge amount of lore information that, of course, gets completely skipped over in the speedrun. We can manipulate the camera to make this block move through the walls when it's off screen. and that skips having to push it up and over those walls. Saves quite a bit of time. And the wall at the end here, you're supposed to hit a glyph in order to get by it, but it was flagged incorrectly in the first version of this game, so you can break it by charging. And I'm gonna try to do frame perfect jump over that. Normally you're supposed to use a current to give Ecco a boost of speed to jump over that, but if you press charge on the exact frame you leave the water, you get a pretty large jump and can clear it. And we're gonna do a second sonar exit here. Now, City of Forever. Gonna use the developer-intended shortcut here to get straight to the time machine. And in this version, you don't need to talk to the glyph to initiate the time travel sequence. You can just use the time machine. In the Japanese version and the Sega CD version, if you skip activating the glyph at the bottom of the level first, you'll get crushed by the blocks in the center of the room and die, which is kind of unfortunate. And we are in the past now. My favorite music in the game, my favorite artwork in the game. Just the backgrounds and enemy sprites are phenomenal. We're gonna summon the Pteranodon here. Swim down here, and there's another section here where you can clip through the wall. They fixed that in later releases as well. And there's a really big glitch here that's a really difficult setup. I'm gonna try to do it. If it goes wrong, we're gonna be waiting a minute. Of course I screwed up. So I didn't want to get grabbed by the glyph, by the Pteranodon. I know it's a speed run, but I really want to show this trick off, so we're just gonna hear the lovely damage sound effects a few times. Because this is just one of those things that makes you say, what, when it happens. So, gonna go over here and try to do an air swim. I think I've got the right height. So the game still thinks Ecco's underwater right now, so it will apply collision. Almost. I'm not gonna give it another try. What's supposed to happen there is if your timing is perfect, Ecco will get stuck in the rock and... Did I pick up the glyph there? Can't remember if I did. I did. Okay. Ecco will get stuck in the rock and the game is like, huh, that's not supposed to happen. And after a few seconds, Ecco will get flung very violently out of the rock and to the right of the level. He skips through a couple of walls there and skips over a huge chunk of the level. The unfortunate thing is if you do it incorrectly, Ecco gets stuck floating through the air and you have to wait for him to run out of air. Run out of oxygen. And, oh, this is not great. Okay, cool. I can... I got screwed by the trilobite. It's okay. Another chance to try the glitch. Yeah, well, Ecco runs out of air because the game still thinks he's underwater, which is pretty funny. This is a touch too high for the glitch to work, unfortunately. Hey, you know, that's what happens. This game is really hard. Still, it's going a little better than Chikan did last night. Yeah, and the pushback logic of the glyph was updated in subsequent releases and in the sequel, so unfortunately can't skip glyphs that way in Tides of Time. So, Pteranodon Pond strikes again. Unfortunately lost a couple of minutes on that level, but it's fine. You just got to hear more of the excellent music. Origin Beach is played completely normally. Just, no need for glitches. The intended route is the fastest route through the level. And just want to say that this has been, so far, my favorite Sega Crew event ever. It has been amazing playing all these great games and having Ed himself around to, you know, provide a little insight into the games. Just, it's been an incredible time. Do another glyph skip there to skip past a very difficult stage and get the flying trilobite of good luck. This first shortcut we're gonna take is intentional. Lets you skip about half the level, and this next one, gonna do a glyph skip here, and time for the first boss of the game. Okay, so we're doing purple. Gotta play Connect 4 here. And there we go. So now we understand why the asteroid had a missing globe. It's because 55 million years ago, some jerk dolphin came up out of nowhere, didn't say anything, didn't introduce himself at all, and just stole a globe. So we're gonna conclude the time paradox in a moment here. And now, the asteroid has given us the power to breathe underwater and told us to return to Atlantis. The time machine's now going to take us back to the hour of the storm, and we will see the unseen enemy. If you get to the time machine too quickly, the time travel music doesn't play when you activate it. Fun little glitch. And now we're back at the beginning of the game. Build up momentum, and now we get sucked up with our pod. Into space! Now, so, we're already almost at the end of the game. You know, in about less than 20 minutes. But the next 7 minutes of the game is an auto-scroller. I can't speed it up. So, normally, this would be the time where I would just ask for donations to be read during a marathon setting, but in this case, I'll just remind everyone why we're here. This is ED-A-THON, featuring games produced by, developed by, and credited to Ed Annunziata. We're raising money for Tiny Hope Village. Thank you for putting the donate link there. Really cool organization doing a really incredible thing, and we are just incredibly pleased to be helping out with that. Just really cool mission, very excited to do what we can. What I like about this level is if you look at the map in the game data, it's not doing any sort of trick to loop the level back on itself. It loads the entire really, really long tube, which is just... I love it. In this stage, as long as I stay in the center of the screen, I'm not gonna die. And now... we are gonna meet the aliens. The very insect-like aliens, the Vortex. I love the music on this stage, and the sprite work in the background is just phenomenal. Hey, look, it's a tradition. Things don't have to be centered, just like the hourglass in Chakan. One of the things I like about this level is you get some subtle use of the Genesis shadow and highlight mode to do some transparencies. There are a couple of sections of tubes that are in shadow, so you get the graphics darkening up a little bit. It was kind of an underutilized hardware mode for the Genesis, but both of the Ecco games here make use of it. And, you know, people think that the Genesis can't do transparency, can't do alpha blending the way that the SNES could. And the shadow and highlight mode does the exact same kind of color math that the SNES does. It's just fixed function rather than arbitrary like the SNES can do. One thing that I appreciate about the Japanese version of this game, there were quite a few updates. It was kind of a version 1.1, if you will, but it includes checkpoints in this level. There are 3 checkpoints throughout it, so if you die, you don't need to start from the beginning. Unfortunately, because of the bug fixes, the Japanese version is the slowest version for the speed run. However, if you're playing casually and can read Japanese, I would definitely recommend that version just because it has some quality of life improvements. It also has a couple of unused pieces of music in it that still exists on the US version of the ROM. They're just never used in the game, so it restores those, which is kind of cool. I wish I had a I wish I had a Japanese cartridge for this game. I do have a Japanese cartridge for Tides of Time because the Japanese version is a few seconds faster on hard mode. It's slower on easy mode because one of the auto-scrollers runs at a third of the speed it normally does. But the artwork on the Japanese releases was especially gorgeous for the box art. Yes, the Japanese Sega CD versions of the game are essentially the same as the North American versions. Alright, and get some nice shadows in here. Increase the number of colors on screen. Hasegawa. That's some serendipity right there. All right. We're about to go into the final fight, which I'm going to try to make short work of. At that. If you hit her jaw from the inside, you can break it in one hit instead of 3. So we do that. She can't swallow us anymore. We gouge out her eyes. Get a little bit of slowdown. The Genesis can't quite blast process hard enough. Then we just do that. And swim to the top to get rid of some lag frames. Okay, 26.5 minutes to complete Echo 1. Aside from Pteranodon Ponds, that was a pretty clean run. I showed off most of the stuff I wanted to, so I'm happy with that. If I had died on that boss fight, I would have needed to replay the 6-minute long auto-scroller, because games are meant to be difficult. And we got this little sequence here. We saved our family! Echo's a hero! And I think I'll just let this play out so we can get a look at the credits and all the lovely, lovely people who worked on this. I have loved this. You have saved us. You are great. My favorite line in the entire game. Do you think the Vortex are destroyed? But I love this bit of synchronized swimming with the pod here. Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. Diggity, do you think that we can get on voice. All right, I'll hop into general, then you can pull Discord audio. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself in OBS now. All right. This is my favorite thing about the game. It doesn't give you the password for the last fight until after you have beaten the game. Excellent.
Here I am.
Nice. Happy to have you.
Yeah. GrimShins. I remember when you, I don't know if it was a speed run, but you played through Colibri that day that I was doing an AMA. I enjoyed that very much.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun doing that. Most of the time. We'll have some words about that bit of the game where you need to push the bomb, but no, that was a blast, and I'm so happy that you're here with us to experience your games being broken.
Well, now that I'm here, I don't know what to say. No, nothing surprised me. But I know, I mean, almost every game has that collision, then push. Which way should I push? Let's look at the joystick and go the opposite direction bug. So it's fun to always see that and make that happen. And I love the when it's detected that the dolphin is inside the excluder volume, there's a program that will just throw the F out of that, and that's when you get those wild teleportations out of the excluders. Awesome. Great.
So I'm going to start Tides of Time now.
Cool.
And
all right, I'll hang up so I don't distract you.
I don't think Grim would mind.
No.
At all.
I will just explain. During these first couple of levels, I need to reset because it is very important that I don't exit the water in any of the side-scrolling stages and don't make Echo do an about face towards the screen. That ensures that two specific values in memory are... I'll start the timer from here. But that'll make sure that two specific values in memory stay where we need them to for something interesting to happen later.
Excellent. Dogpound Gaming, thank you so much for the raid. Much appreciated. Good time to join. We've got GrimShins and Ed Annunziata on mic.
So I've always been really fascinated by how these 3D stages work. Ed, do you have some insight into how you guys managed to get something this impressive out of the Genesis?
Well, the stunning thing that's going on here, in my personal opinion, is the bottom, the ocean floor animation is just a flip book. It's like, what, how many frames? Six frames, maybe 8, and it's looping, but it's also on a scanline basis, shifting left and right. You can see the little bit of a perspective kind of bend when you go left and right. This is like just really effing simple to do, but looks beautiful. And the reason why it looks so well isn't the tech, it's that the artist, Jolt, just was able to make those frames like 1 pixel at a time out of his head, and he made the animations perfect. That one loop animation, and that's why that whole effect works.
I've always been blown away by the pixel art in this game, and I think you mentioned before, when he did his first work on the original Ecco the Dolphin, he was something like 19 years old.
17.
17! Oh my god.
And for sure, a virgin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's a lovely person. I'm hoping to have a beer with him in February.
So, if all has gone well so far, I should still be in the proper state to skip a cutscene that's coming up after this one. So, our descendant from the future, Trelia, shows up and says, "Hi, Echo, touch me and I'll take you to the future." And whenever somebody does that, I'm like, okay. So, we're gonna go to the future now. And normally there's supposed to be a cutscene where Echo gets spawned in. Takes about 8 seconds, but because we manipulated those memory values, the cutscene thinks it's already played. And I'm gonna use these dolphins here and leap around the glyph and skip that level. Normally there's a pretty big sort of puzzle that you have to do in that level, but you can jump around the glyph and just hit the end of level trigger. You can do the same thing on this level, but it's a much more precise setup to do. Ends up being faster most of the time just to get the key song. I love the wobbly lines on this level. In fact, I love them so much I was distracted there and forgot to jump, but that's a really cool graphical effect.
That's the hardware transparency that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Oh. Did you ever see the movie The Abyss? James Cameron?
Oh, yes.
So the water tentacle that came into the sub or whatever they were in, it was like a tube of water.
Yeah.
Came up to the woman's face, and then it just morphed into a face. That was the inspiration of this.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Chunks of water that float in the air.
This is probably my favorite early game level, just using these bubbles to fling Echo through the air. You can do some slight adjustments on the D-pad and just hit all of them really smooth like that. It feels so nice when you hit it properly. Just adjust, bounce off the rock there. One of the most technical levels in the game, just really clean. Really fun when you do it clean. Oh, and that was the best thing that could have happened, because when you're in the bird form there, your fastest form of movement is falling after getting hit by an eagle.
So great.
In this game, you can transform into a bird, a shark, a jellyfish, a
Cooler fish.
fish, and even an alien. which is all really awesome, but unfortunately, for the sake of speed, we only ever use the bird transformation. The bird transformation is really helpful, and next level's gonna show exactly why. So normally we're supposed to fly to the left side of the level and pick up a glyph, but when we're in the bird, Echo's hitbox is slightly smaller than normal, which allows us to push him through a seam in the wall there, and we can just swim straight to the exit. Very important to make sure that piece of the broken glyph stays on screen, because unlike every other object in the game, if you get it off screen even briefly, its position resets to its initial spawn location and you have to go back and grab it. You can just swim through that wall. The way the objects load in, there's a little bit of a gap that you can push Echo through. Normally you're supposed to wait for this worm to eat the rocks. I discovered that completely by accident, and it saves quite a bit of time. I love this bit, swimming through the asteroids, swimming through the double helix. It kind of reminds me of that bit in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 where you've got to press up and down when you're on the rotating barrel in Carnival Night.
Oh, the Barrel of Doom.
Yeah, the Barrel of Doom, because it strikes me the same way of like, it took people a while to figure out what to do, and you're on a timer, because in Echo's case, you run out of oxygen, and yeah, just something relatable to Sega fans out there.
So Grim, what would you say is the most difficult trick in this particular run?
Probably the glyph skips, because as we mentioned, the glyph collision code works a little differently in this than it did in Echo 1, so we need a little bit of help in order to skip a couple of glyphs later on in the run, but they're both huge time saves. And pretty entertaining the way they work. So let's see here, we're probably a couple minutes away from that. Oh, and Dan just popped in. Donations are at $630 raised so far during the course of this event. That is awesome. I like this a little bit, following the orca. Gotta keep him on screen, because otherwise he disappears and goes back to the beginning of the level. But once he gets to about this point, the rocks blocking the exit have already despawned. And 4 Islands is kind of notorious because of this guy here, Blackfin the Dolphin. We gotta follow him, but he tries to lose us, because when you first meet him, he's like, you're not Ecco the Dolphin. Prove you're Ecco the Dolphin. You gotta keep up with me. And I'd be very interested in learning more about how his pathfinding works, because on occasion he has been known to get stuck inside of the rocks, which It is always amusing when it happens. He played nice today, though. So he's like, okay, you are Echo, I'll give you the song to break the rocks. And we can use the rocks and any other object you can charge to build up a lot of speed quickly by charging towards it and using the sonar attack. Basically, Echo will lock onto the breakable object, move really fast, but then his sonar will break the object before he does, so he just maintains his momentum. That's used to great effect in the level after this one, I believe. So on this level, if I just do really quick slides from the, I didn't mean to hit that glyph. But if I do a quick slide from the C to the A button, I lock on to the jellyfish while moving forward very quickly. We skip transforming into a jellyfish because it's faster just to eat the damage and swim to the end of the level. Yeah, we're playing on the normal difficulty right now, because if we were playing on the hard difficulty, it would take about 16 minutes longer, and a good amount of that time is from additional auto-scrollers. But I'm playing the cartridge version of the game right now, because as much as I liked the soundtrack on the CD versions of the game, I just prefer the Sega Genesis chiptune. You know, that's just... That's always been the Echo music for me.
Me too. I mean, Spencer's music is cinematic and just awesome, but something about the FM sound.
I am a huge fan of the Genesis FM chip. And, you know, I think Spencer's soundtrack definitely got plenty of recognition, because I think both of the soundtracks, both for Echo 1 and Tides of Time, ended up charting on, like, the New Age charts for when they were released, which I think is pretty hilarious.
So Ed, Aludra had a question.
Spencer made, so Spencer was the guy who listened to and watched a prototype of the game and listened to me playing Shine On You Crazy Diamond, pointing at the screen saying, I want the music to sound like this. The next day he made a song on this, you know, Z80 FM thing that was in the Genesis, and it was perfect and beautiful. And then that FM song inspired all the other composers to make Echo music the way it sounds. So even though we like the FM versions of the music better, we still have to credit Spencer Nielsen for a lot of that, because he made the benchmark too.
That's awesome. I love learning all this new stuff about this game that I've loved and played since my childhood. Now, Moray Abyss here is interesting because it's kind of an auto-scroller, but you can speed it up by pushing the shell downwards. You have to balance that, though, with the damage that you take from it. And if you touch the red eel at all, you're pretty much dead. And I have played it a little fast and loose in terms of health here, but I should be fine. There's a slight chance that the boss will die without us doing anything.
It's okay.
That
You
glitch
got-
did
you got
not
this.
happen this go around. Yeah, there's some series of events you can do in the level where as soon as the shell hits the ground, it just plays the boss death animation. We've got no idea why it happens. Most of the glitches, we know exactly why they happen. That's one of them that has us scratching our heads.
So just to circle back on that too, Ed, do you have any insight into the race, the logic for the race, as far as how the path selection was for your competitor?
How it was it a spline or I have no idea how the path is generated. A blackfin you're talking about, right?
Yep.
I suspect it was recorded, so it was just directions, a string of directions, and then of course they're relative. So if you shove them, it offsets his path. I don't remember.
All right. Remember how I said you can't skip glyphs in this game the same way you can as Echo 1? If you sonar a glyph, you get this text message. You may not pass yet. You must rebuild the asteroids. If you do that, then collide into the glyph, you get kind of boosted backwards, and if done correctly...
You're boosted in the wrong direction.
Yep, you can clip into the wall and just skip right to the end of the level. You can do the same thing on Big Water here, which is a shame because I love this music. This is the only level it's used in. But this one's a little scarier because if you do it incorrectly, you can get zipped into a room that you can't get out of. Should work this time. So we skipped having to grab about 10 or 12 pairs of the Asteroids globes, but not looking any worse for wear. The game has its sanity check and is like, oh, if you've reached this level, he must be this rebuilt, this percentage. And one thing I have to be very careful of is I need to make sure that the globes are orbiting Echo before I enter the teleport ring, because otherwise they will not appear on the other side of the ring. Just whatever flag that says you're carrying the globes isn't set properly. Fortunately, I think we should be good. And since we're playing on not hard mode, we can skip having to get all of the pairs of globes on this stage. I think there are about 9 in total, but you only need 4 if you're playing on a difficulty lower than hard. Free Willy the game indeed, Brando. What is up?
So Grim,
On the hungry ones, we're supposed to turn into a shark, but instead we decide to turn into the birds because we can clip through this little section here and swim to the bottom of the level.
Grim,
Onto a
what's
short
the-
level than a cool 3D stage. This is our favorite 3D stage in the game because Echo's charge cooldown gets reset every time he hits an enemy. So you can just immediately charge again and go really, really fast. It's also helpful from a speed perspective because by eliminating the sharks, we're reducing the number of sprites on screen, which makes the game run faster. I really love the tile set for Lunar Bay. Just the really cool moon in the background, and I really like the black rock formations. Just looks really slick. Gonna try our best not to get bad touched by the aliens here, because they'll carry you off to a little alien prison.
Look at the way the rocks are lit.
Yeah. Now, what I did there is I touched Echo's nose against the bottom of the level, and by doing that, I ensured that the objects making up that barrier loaded in the correct order we need in order to wiggle Echo through them. Really interesting glitch. And now we're in the alien future, which time travel is rather destructive to alien morphology, apparently, but these are my favorite levels in the game because it turns Echo into a platform game, which is pretty entertaining.
I love the gravity meter.
Yes. Oh, and you can do some
Bob.
entertaining stuff with it. Now here, I'm gonna face Echo downward, and what I've just done is deloaded an object that would have taken away our barrier breaking song. So that will allow me to skip having to pick up a second glyph towards the end of the level. And now I can just go back and forth up these. Always a little scary doing this because there's a bottomless pit underneath you. And jump up here. Still have the song to break the rocks. Get some more gravity shenanigans. I'm gonna try to jump back across here to save just a touch of time. In Black Clouds, there are 4 barriers that we're supposed to take out using glyphs, but we're only gonna collect 3 of them. The top one we can skip due to, some creative routing. There are some objects that are supposed to prevent us from doing this, but we can break them with Echo's sonar. So we can just push through, and we're at the end of the level now. And Graviter Box has the weirdest gravity in the game, but we skip most of it thanks to this tunnel here. And now on to Where Runs Go to Die. Globe Holder, one of the most creative boss fights on any Genesis game. In Phase 1, gotta bash it around the room. And in Phase 2, we're gonna try to get it to smash into the corners here. And that went pretty well. I love the death effect for it, that interlaced sort of scanline effect on it. Really cool.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, some of the effects, the really neat effects, are harder to capture and actually render for the stream purposes.
I hope it's staying pretty clear. I gave the game quite a lot of bitrate on my end.
Yep, it's looking pretty good. I just, you know, again, it's so wild when you see some of the, just even the transparency effects to make things appear invisible with, you know, the interlaced lines, things like that.
Okay, we have successfully rebuilt the asteroid. We got our powers back, so don't need to worry about air anymore. All of our brother stingers are helping out with the aliens. And just got to storm the Vortex Aliens hive on Earth. And this is the easiest glitch in the game. You just swim towards this wall at full speed, and you get sucked into the auto-scroller. Skips about half or 2/3 of the auto-scroller. And when I'm in here, I'm gonna take care just to decapitate this alien. I'm not gonna kill it, because if I kill it, then other ones will spawn in the level. And I have a tendency to forget what their spawn points are. And the way damage works when you're in the auto-scroller is you don't have any invulnerability frames. So when you're overlapping an enemy, you're just taking damage per frame. So you'll be dead in about 1/3 of a second, because I think Echo's probably got somewhere in the region of 20 hit points. So do my very best to avoid that. This is my favorite piece of music in the game, though. I just love that it hits upon every motif used in the rest of the soundtrack. All right. Time to fight the queen. She's gonna try to swallow us, and we're gonna let her do that. We get stuck on this piece of geometry here, and that'll put us in perfect position to take her out in one cycle. And now we've got a credit sequence. Game's not over yet, but got a little bit of time here where I can take a break.
Very nicely done.
Yeah. What's interesting is during this sequence, you still have some limited control, some limited influence over Echo. And I'll, just for fun, demonstrate that once we get to the point where the dolphins are going to be talking with them. Man, I see that chat is popping off. I haven't been able to keep up with it. So we can turn Echo around. We can,
I think chat's saying again.
Yes. Get Echo kind of stuck in that turned around position there. See if I can get him back. Nope, I can just kind of glitch him a little bit.
Hey, don't skip that.
I have to. It's faster. So my favorite story about this is Upthorn, the gentleman who did the tool-assisted speedrun for this game. When he played this as a kid, he thought that was it. He saw he was back in level 1 and it was like, oh, I guess that's just the second loop. And he turned off the Genesis. It wasn't until later that he discovered, oh yeah, there's a entire, like, back leg of the game to do.
Death shows up, and then you have to... Oh, no.
Yeah. Speaking of Castlevania, I think Nova Trade did an Amiga port of Castlevania, didn't they?
No. Impossible Mission was the one that they were famous for. No, and not on the Amiga. It's on, I think, the Commodore 64.
Oh, wow.
And remember, they did like hundreds of games.
So one of the fun things we've got coming up next, Ed, is we're doing a little bit of a crowd event, I guess you could say. We're bringing in some people from the Sega crew. We're going to be doing a run of Dungeons and Dragons with Faust. It's going to be a pretty long block where we're going through this, but we're going to be as the Sega crew will be assisting with things like voices, sound effects, and otherwise. So
Sounds interesting.
yeah, we're just going to troll Faust as much as we can, because that's just kind of how we work.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be the last time that we have to feed a hungry dolphin. Sonar the fish over here. And then he'll finally let us by. If you touch the ceiling here, there we go. You get a little bit of an earthquake there, some falling masonry, and yeah, it's the only level something like that happens, and most of the time you would completely miss it, but I thought that was a little interesting touch. On the next level, we're supposed to turn into a school of fish, but if we hold left B and C, we can skip the metasphere, just swim past its bounding box, and that lets us swim straight to the end of this level and avoid getting eaten by our brethren. And last stage, I'm going to do what I call moron strats here, and intentionally aggro the vortex larva to open the door for us early. And one last cool glitch here. If I swim all the way to the left of the stage, the block spawns in a different position and just falls through the floor, so makes that bit a little faster. And there we go. Not bad. I think I managed to hit estimate roughly for both games, so kind of know what.
Great job.
Very nice.
Thanks for the GGs, chat. That was a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun decoding these secret passwords, because a surprising amount of information is stored in them. The number of times you died, and how much in-game time it took you to beat the game. So that's pretty interesting. And it's my understanding that the secret password was going to be used in a third Echo game that ended up not getting produced.
Well, it's that password is going to be used in the third.
Ooh.
doesn't exist yet.
Oh. Well, I am looking forward to it then. And
I forgot about this little fireworks sequence.
Yeah. I always loved this ending. Just the idea that the Vortex Queen travels back in time and has to integrate with the other creatures on Earth, and her descendants become arthropods. I love just introducing that last little time paradox in the end. But there you have it. That was Ecco the Dolphin and Ecco the Tides of Time, the any percent speedruns, and I have just had an absolute blast with this event, and so glad that got to show these games off. And Ed, it has been fantastic having you on comms. I've learned a bunch of new stuff about the game, and just thanks for helping us make this event a reality.
I'm absolutely sure no one in the world has enjoyed this more than I have. Not even close. So thank you for breaking and playing my game and reminding me of those days 30 years ago. It was very nice. Thank you. I'll shut up now.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, everybody be sure to stick around for the Dungeons and Dragons run coming up next. It's gonna be a party.
I mean, the term "run," we can put that on in air quotes, right? It's gonna be,
Yeah.
It's gonna be just having fun with it, and do what we always do best out here on the channel. So, excellent. Well, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip to a setting up for the next runner screen here in just a moment. We'll get things prepped, ready to go, and Ed, as always, again, we'll have you in the channel if you want to participate. Feel free. I know, again, we're going to kind of delve into the land of silly on this one, but that's okay. So, excellent. All right, thanks so much, Grim. I really appreciate it, and we're going to go ahead and flip over to the setup screen now.